Hey guys, what's going on? Kevin Sheeran here, one of the owners and trainers here at Southside Strength and Fitness, and today we're going to be hosting our first weekly Q&A. Got some questions here from members of the gym via Facebook and some in person, and we're just going to get stuck right in with the first question. So the first question we got is from William. His question is, what exercises in fact are best to build your wide grip pull-ups, going from 2 or 3 reps up to multiple reps per set? So the first thing you can do is, obviously you might be starting with your regular pull-up workout. So I don't know where you have it in your training, but let's say you're doing something which may be atypical, 3 to 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps after you've appropriately warmed yourself up. Something you can do for assistance afterwards, maybe at the tail end of your last set, would be to add an appropriate tension band and continue doing pull-ups until failure. You can maybe add another 2 or 3 sets with a band for kind of 8 to 12 reps to build up some work capacity. You could also add in some lat pull downs. Now there are strategies you can put in on the back section of your training specifically, but another strategy which might be nice that you can do whenever you're in the gym, or if you were to have, for example, a pull-up bar at home, would be, let's say on your pressing day, you might be doing, typical day might be just a lot of bench press work and chest and biceps, let's say. What you could also do is you could take 50% of your maximum volume. So in this case, you've got 2 to 3 reps. So you would take one rep, just being most practical. And every time in between sets, you could do your bench work, head over to a pull-up bar and just do an additional rep. Or if you had a pull-up station at home, every time you walked by the pull-up bar, you could just hop up and do an additional rep. If you were to do this over the course of the workout, typical workout being 12 to 15 sets, you could get an additional, depending on your ability to keep going, you could get anywhere from 15 to maybe 20 reps thrown in just at your current work capacity, maybe even more. So this is going to allow you to accumulate more volume, build your motor patterns up for your pull-up, and stimulate a little bit of hypertrophy as well, and just some forcing those muscle contractions, which are going to, again, as I said, help build up your motor patterns. So there are a couple of strategies that you can use to help bring up your wide grip pull-up. And again, as you progress, let's say you got up to a working set of 5, you progress that to 2. Take roughly 50% and just hammer them out. Not enough to tax you, so you can still get back to your original work for your bench press workout, let's say, but enough to stimulate your motor patterns and a little bit more work volume into the total week to get better at that particular pattern. So yeah, that's what you can do there. Now, on to our next question. The next question is coming from Andrew. I was wondering how tucked your elbows should be on a dumbbell, flat/incline dumbbell bench press. I feel my chest more when my arms are out wider, but no, it's not great for your shoulders in that position. There's going to be two points to this question. The first point is on the lateral side of your arm when in a bench press, in a dumbbell press position. You have what's called the greater tubercle. This is a process on the side of your humerus, your arm bone, your upper arm bone here. That is when your arms are in this kind of robot-like position at the bottom, is going to pinch soft tissue around the process of your scapula, which is just your shoulder bone here. The process of your scapula up where your humerus sits into your shoulder. So by being too wide, you're potentially pinching soft tissue there. You might be meeting bone. It's just not a good position to be in. So that's going to be individualized about how wide you can go, because everyone's a little bit different in terms of their structures. Some people's scapula process might have more space, or others people might have less, or their greater tubercle and lesser tubercle might be protrude more on their bones. So that's going to be highly individualized. Now, so coming back to the point, you're saying you feel it more on your chest when you're wider. This will be the case because your chest is involved in adduction of your humerus, or bringing your arm closer towards the middle of your body. So the more out of a right angle you put your arms at and bring them together, that's going to obviously stimulate your chest more, and the more your elbows are tucked in more and pressing through, it's going to stimulate your triceps more. So on a dumbbell press, I'll demo from, imagine I'm in a flat position here. I typically like to go, bring the dumbbells up through my chest, bring my arms out to the side. Most people will have their arms forward here. I like to turn my wrists to about a 45-degree angle. This helps tuck the elbows, and also at the shoulder joint helps rotate inward those tubercle processes on your arm, so that they're not going to interact with the shoulder as well, and then tuck the elbows slightly. This is going to vary hugely for each individual, so I bring it down to the side. That's roughly my bottom position. I also like to retract my shoulders and press. That's going to be the position I'm in when I'm pressing my dumbbells. The more right angled my arms are, the more it pinches on my shoulders, so I just bring it down. You can do a little bit of testing with this with dumbbells, so just see what position feels most natural to you. Obviously, the more your arms come in, the more it's becoming a tricep movement, because what your pec's prime function is bringing your arm closer to the midline. It will be involved to some degree as your elbows get tucked, but not to the same extent. So that's why you're feeling it more when you bring your arms out wider, but the reason you shouldn't be doing them at, I know it's the extreme, at a right angle, in a right angle position, is because of the structures of your humerus, which is your upper arm, and your shoulder girdle. Hope that helps. So, on to our third question. Our third question comes from Shane. At heavier weights, in roughly the 3 to 5 rep range, my upper back gets pulled out of position during the deadlift. What can I do to fix this? I've seen your previous video in which the pendlay row suggested, and was wondering where I should put it in my training, and also if I should consider supersetting it in my training as well on certain days. I train 4 times a week on a 3-day split. Day 1 being a squat and a push press with some assistance work. Day 2 being a deadlift and an incline press with again more assistance work. And day 3 being a lunge and shoulder work with again more assistance work. So it's an interesting question. I was talking with Shane in person with regards to this and gave him some general suggestions, but I've had a bit more time to think about it, and here would be what I would suggest. First of all, I would substitute the pendlay row. I would put the pendlay row into somewhere on your program. My choice personally would be on your deadlift day. Obviously now, this is assuming that I wouldn't change your program around, but let's assume we're not changing the program. I put it in on my deadlift day, directly after my deadlifts, and I would do it for kind of initially starting for 3 sets of 8 reps to help build up some work capacity and thickness in the area, like I said in our previous video. That said, at heavier weights in the 3 to 5 rep range, my upper back is getting pulled out of position is the first thing you're saying. That may be a sign that your technique might need some more ingraining. So although the pendlay row and the 45-degree back raise are going to help, like said in the previous video, you might need to drop the weight back down slightly and just really hone technique even in these rep ranges, and build up some work capacity. Now, after you've subbed the pendlay rowing and have done your kind of 3 sets of 8 for a couple of weeks, and you've been also doing your deadlift, and you're finding that if you find that you're still being pulled out of position, then it may be appropriate to start supersetting it into your training like you've asked. So where I would put it there would be maybe on your lunge and shoulder work day, and you could, for example, after your barbell overhead press work, you could sub in some pendlay rows. I would again keep this at about the 3 sets of 8 reps, but what I would do here is I would dial the weight back 10% roughly, and the reason being is that we're just trying to accumulate some more work volume in the week, similar to our pull-ups, the pull-up solution that in our first question. So we're dialing back the weight a little bit and seeing how just trying to build up that technique and build up a bit more work volume. So you could sub it in maybe during your shoulder work or directly after, and the reason for dialing back that 10% again is you're really just trying to build up the work volume. So you're not trying to have a heavy work set, but by coming back to this pattern and doing it again, you're going to get more work volume in the area, build up the pattern, and help yourself get stronger. So as I said, first thing I'd do would be put the pendlay row in I'd personally choose on my deadlift day, see how you respond to that. I'd also reassess my deadlift as a whole, maybe dial my weight back a little bit and really focus on getting my technique in a good stead. And then if needed, and I found that my pendlay row work wasn't working, I would maybe sub it in on another day at a slightly reduced weight for similar rep ranges, just to get more work volume in and hopefully help strengthen up the area. Obviously, you're going to have to assess how you're recovering from your additional volume. So if you do find it that it's beating you up, it may not be worth plugging it in for the additional benefit, but that's going to be highly individualized and depending on your caloric intake, whether you're eating in a surplus or a deficit. So look, that's pretty much it. I hope you found this Q&A useful. This is going to be a weekly event, so keep an eye out on our Facebook page for the Q&A thread where you can submit your questions. Also, don't forget to subscribe here on our YouTube page, which is where the videos are hosted and where we host a lot of our videos so that you can get the content when it comes out. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Kevin Sheeran, this has been Southside Strength and Fitness, and I'll talk to you next time. Take it easy.